a personality no less than Napoleon Bonaparte, who was always interested in the history of great conquerors, took with him a team of scholars on his expedition to Egypt in 1798 to find out as much as they could about Prophet Muhammad's life and military ventures from rare manuscripts in the archives of Cairo's oldest university, the Al-Azhar, built in 970 after Jesus. The emperor was so impressed with the Prophet's achievements that he wrote a moving tribute to him in his book, Autobiography. Napoleon wrote, "Arabia was idolatrous when 6 centuries after Jesus, Muhammad introduced the worship of the God of Abraham, of Ismail, Moses, and Jesus. Muhammad declared that there was no one worthy of worship but one God who had no father and no son, and that the Trinity imported the idea of pagan idolatry. The Muslims snatched away more souls from false gods, pulled down more idols, which the followers of Moses and Jesus could not achieve in 15 centuries. Muhammad was a great man. Had he and his commanders been defeated in battle and repelled to their vast deserts, the name of Muhammad would have never been known to the world. I hope the time is not far off when I shall be able to unite all the wise and educated men of all the countries and establish a uniform regime based on the principles of the Quran, which alone are true and which alone can lead men to happiness." Napoleon, who died in 1821, unfortunately did not realize this hope. As far back as 1881, the noted Scottish essayist and historian Thomas Carlyle chose Prophet Muhammad as one of his heroes. In his book, Heroes and Hero Worship, Carlyle describes the Prophet as a light out of heaven who came to men who waited for him to ignite them with inspiration. Throughout life, Muhammad was a solid, brotherly, genuine man with a serious, sincere character. For 23 years, through rough trials, I find in him something of a veritable hero, necessary for myself, Carlyle concluded. The famed writer H.G. Wells, in his book Outline of History, published in 1920, notes that Muhammad's sermon established in the world a great tradition of dignified, fair dealing with a spirit of generosity, and that it was human and workable. In December 1923, a noted baronet of English aristocracy linked to the British royal family, Sir Charles Edward Archibald Hamilton, embraced Islam in an article in the Islamic Review published in 1924. Outlining reasons why he became a Muslim, Sir Hamilton wrote, "I have always placed reason and common sense before blind faith. Since arriving at an age of discretion, the beauty and the simple purity of Islam have always appealed to me, though being born and brought up as a Christian. There is no religion that is so maligned by the ignorant and biased as Islam. Yet, if people only knew, it is the only true solution for the problem of socialism, inasmuch as it is the religion of the strong for the weak and the rich for the poor." A reference book published in 1988, entitled 1,000 Great People Through the Ages by P. Somerset Fry, says he could not have known that the conquests carried out in his name, in fact, saved many aspects of Greek and Roman civilization from extinction, and that they benefited the world to an inestimable degree. World-famous author James Michener, in his essay, Islam, the Misunderstood Religion, adds that many Westerners accustomed by their history books to believe that Muslims were barbarous infidels find it difficult to comprehend how profoundly Western intellectual life had been influenced by early Muslim scholars in the field of science, medicine, mathematics, geography, and philosophy. He says crusaders who invaded the Holy Land of Jerusalem to fight Muslims in the Middle Ages returned to Europe with new ideas of love, poetry, chivalry, warfare, government, the concepts of what a university should be like, and how history should be written. In 1978, American researcher and writer, historian and mathematician Michael H. Hart, in his extremely absorbing book, The 100, a ranking of the most influential persons in history, wrote one of the most interesting analyses on why he believed Prophet Muhammad was the most influential leader the world had ever known. When his book first rolled off the press in New York, it was given raving reviews by America's top publications. The Los Angeles Times said the book was thought-provoking and utterly absorbing. And the Wall Street Journal called it a fascinating book. But it also earned much staunch disagreement, and in some cases, violent rejection. Michael Hart ranked Prophet Muhammad the #1 choice out of 100 world-renowned historical personalities who lived between 3,500 before Jesus and the 20th century, and projected their influence on the world. Amongst the 100 famous persons he selected were Isaac Newton, ranked #2, Jesus in 3rd place, Buddha 4th, Confucius 5th, Einstein in 10th place, Karl Marx in 11th position, and Lenin in 15th position, Moses 16th, Martin Luther in 23rd position, Alexander the Great in position number 33, Napoleon in 34th position, Hitler 35th, Plato 40th, Pope Urban II in 50th place, Stalin 63rd, Caesar 65th, John F. Kennedy 80th, and number 100 position to Niels Bohr. Mahatma Gandhi's influence did not go far enough to earn him a place in the first 100. He was given honorable mention with 9 other historical figures. The author also points out that all the peoples selected in his book were highly intelligent, and only 7 were illiterate, Muhammad being one of them. What was Michael Hart's criteria, and on what basis did Muhammad qualify for first place? Hart says he selected Muhammad because he was the only man in history who was supremely successful on both the religious and secular levels. In contrast, all other great world conquerors, such as Alexander the Great, William the Conqueror, Napoleon, Hitler, Genghis Khan, and others, failed to establish glorious civilizations and lasting cultures in the countries they conquered. Michael Hart also points out that while Jesus was responsible for the main ethical and moral precepts of Christianity, insofar as these differed from Judaism, it was St. Paul who was the author of a large portion of the New Testament, as well as the main developer of Christian theology and its principal proselytizer. The entire Islamic scripture, the Quran, its theology with its ethical and moral precepts, came through Muhammad in his lifetime, and he was its chief spreader. The Quran has also survived to this day with its original detailed Arabic teachings as voiced by Muhammad. No such detailed compilation of Christ's teachings has survived. In the end, an entire population of one-time ruthless enemies who eventually saw the light in his teachings became his most loyal disciples and friends, ready to go wherever he commanded, and totally prepared to lay down their lives for him and the new faith they now willingly accepted. Finally, 18th century French philosopher Voltaire said this about Prophet Muhammad: "We pay reverence to him who masters our minds with the force of truth, and not to those who enslave our minds by violence."
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. قل إنما يوحى لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عزيزا حكيما.
Allah's are the hosts of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is ever mighty, wise.
إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا لتؤمنوا بالله ورسوله وتعزروه وتوقروه وتسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا.
Lo, we have sent thee, O Muhammad, as a witness and a bearer of good tidings and a warner, that ye, mankind, may believe in Allah and His Messenger, and may honor Him, and may revere Him, and may glorify Him at early dawn and at the close of day.
إن الذين يبايعونك إنما يبايعون الله يد الله فوق أيديهم فمن نكث فإنما ينكث على نفسه ومن أوفى بما عاهد عليه الله فسيؤتيه أجرا عظيما.
Lo, those who swear allegiance unto thee, Muhammad, swear allegiance only unto Allah. The hand of Allah is above their hands. So whosoever breaketh his oath, breaketh it only to his soul's hurt, while whosoever keepeth his covenant with Allah, on him will He bestow immense reward.
سيقول لك المخلفون من الأعراب شغلتنا أموالنا وأهلنا فاستغفر لنا. يقولون بألسنتهم ما ليس في قلوبهم. قل فمن يملك لكم من الله شيئا إن أراد بكم ضرا أو أراد بكم نفعا بل كان الله بما تعملون خبيرا.
Those of the wandering Arabs who were left behind will tell thee, our possessions and our households occupied us, so ask forgiveness for us. They speak with their tongues that which is not in their hearts. Say, who can avail you aught against Allah, if He intend you hurt, or intend you profit? Nay, but Allah is ever aware of what ye do.
بل ظننتم أن لن ينقلب الرسول والمؤمنون إلى أهليهم أبدا وزين ذلك في قلوبكم وظننتم ظن السوء وكنتم قوما بورا.
Nay, but ye deemed that the messenger and the believers would never return to their own folk, and that was made fair seeming in your hearts. And ye did think an evil thought, and ye were worthless folk.
وَمَن لَّمْ يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ